Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
The #1 long-form writer that helps SEOs outrank competition at the click of a button using real-time research and NLP. Start ranking content today with contentatScale.ai.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. Bless your heart. She was being like, is it Ngutegure, Thierry Ngutegure? You did a sterling job, I'll give you that. Today I'm going to be talking about SEO Sixth Sense. So how do we use data in a little bit more of a creative manner? I think that as a generation, we have more data at our fingertips than we ever have in any generation that's come before us. But for some reason, we're kind of in a bit of a weird fatigue stage where we're like, oh my God, I've got so much, it's overwhelming, I don't know what to do with it, oh my God, leave it alone. But then at the same time, we're like, oh, can I look at the KPIs and measure this and measure this and measure that? But you can't look at mine as long as I see yours first, and then I'll show you mine. And it's like, Lord have mercy. So then hopefully in this session, it's less about, truly absorbing the content. What I want you to walk away with is to feel a little bit more empowered to do something a little bit more creative with the data that you have, and also to share. Weirdly, I feel like I'm talking to a room of adults, like your kids, and be like, make sure you share. But it's really, really, really important, especially when it comes to data. So let's get into it. As I say, yes, my name is Thierry. That's a massive picture of me. I look far better on that picture than I do in real life, so unfortunate. But please do grab me after the event as well. I'm super open to talking about different topics, whether it be about being more creative, about the data world in itself. So yes, please connect. So let's get straight into it. So we're going to be covering off what data actually is in the realm of marketing. So like actually going down to the fundamental principles just to kind of get ourselves a bit of a foundation of understanding. And then we'll go through the mistakes that I think businesses make when they're actioning against their data. So I have data, what do I do next, ultimately? And then we'll go into, the words there are a lot fancier than what it actually is. I promise you it's not as intense. But yeah, go into kind of data integration and predictive analytics type stuff. And I'll give you guys some examples of how you can go away and be a little bit more creative with the data that you have. But let's just start with the fundamentals, really, in terms of data, what it is. So we've got first-party data. So this is data that you collect from your audience consensually. They've agreed to do that. And second-party data, so this is another organization's users. So this is really cool if you have a similar audience and you're talking to your competitors, for example. We're not talking to them, but trying to understand what they're doing and what their strategies are, and you can learn a lot from understanding their audience. And then you've got a third-party aspect of it. So this is kind of market research, your Statista-type kind of audience understanding. And so therefore, market analytics really is a process of tracking, measuring data, and then using that to craft future marketing strategies. And there was a report that was done by PwC most recently that kind of talked about why data is thus that important. So highly driven companies are 3 times more likely than their less data-driven counterparts to see significant improvements in decision-making. It's that decision-making piece that I really want us to kind of focus on. It's like, I have all this stuff, I need to act, what do I do next? And those individuals, therefore, kind of go on to develop a way better user experience for their audience, have the ability to calculate ROI, like what am I actually doing, bang for buck type thinking, and then future marketing strategies as well. It's like, it's great to understand what we're doing today, but how do I use the data that's happening today to kind of inform what I'm going to do tomorrow then? And so then when we jump into it, I just want to cover off 2 fundamental mistakes I think that brands or even companies or even ourselves and even me, to be honest, make when we are kind of actioning against our insight. Now, the first one is thinking that every trend is actionable. Now, no more so than the NFT market, where every business from selling corrugated iron to fast fashion companies created NFTs and wearable, digital, etc. Now, it's not saying that any of these markets aren't, don't stand in their own right, but it's understanding who your audience is and whether that is actually relevant for your audience, and not just doing something just because everybody else is doing it and you're getting a little bit of FOMO, right? And then the second one as well is then using data to micromanage and not empower. I think that instead of using data as a way to say, okay, I would like to go over there, I think we use it as a bit of a beating rod with each other and kind of be like, we optimize the hell out of it and use it and go, well, the data doesn't say this, so we're not going to do that with the data. Well, what does the data actually say? And so therefore, how do we become a little bit better? So the 3 approaches I'm going to kind of go across is bridging data and data silos, I'll kind of define what that is. Considering a wider view of your customer journeys, and then the machines are here to help the predictive analytics piece. So, to truly understand our customers and their journey, we need to get a holistic view. So this begins by breaking down data silos. Now, what I talk about data silos is that, we can actually visually see it in some companies where you have teams that physically sit separately from each other. And therefore, the way the work that they produce also sits separately from each other. And so therefore, each team has this real nugget of insight or understanding about their audience in a very specific scenario, but that we don't share it. This is mine, I'm just reporting against my team. These are my metrics, these are my KPIs, and we don't share at all. So when it's isolated, we get fragments of the story. We miss the interconnected narratives and the complete customer journey. But by integrating our data, we can start to see patterns that overlap, insights that were previously hidden. And data integration doesn't just give us numbers, it provides actual actionable insights, clear strategies, and a deeper understanding of our customers. So how do I do this? So just for context, there is a lot within each one of these steps. I've put it all into the notes pages. So if anybody would love to kind of go in there and look at the micro actions, the impacts, and why this thing is super important within that given step, then please do have a little look at that. But the main principle is kind of identifying those existing silos. So this is everybody sitting down in the room and understanding where our data actually lives, then mapping out our customer journey. So from the moment our customer is aware of us or even has that intent within a given field or a given sector, and mapping it all the way down to conversion. At what point do they interact with us? And when they do interact with us, what is that data that we're able to collect or piece of insight we're able to collect from them? And then there's the middle part of selecting your kind of integrated solution. So this is making sure that all of your metrics line up. So if somebody else is looking at engagement rates and therefore your KPIs are around links and other things, how does that data actually integrate together so that we can report holistically? And then data cleaning and transformation once again as well, making sure that everything is kind of in a unified manner. And then making sure it therefore all plugs in together. So we have now sat down, we understand every bit of data or interaction our audience has with us. We've collected that, we've made sure that it's collected in a unified, clean method. And then this is where we start creating kind of a bit of a centralized dashboard. Now I know it's probably one of the most difficult things to get across to everybody because everybody wants to create a dashboard, but everybody has 16 versions of a dashboard they want to see, and they want it on a Tuesday or a Friday or a Wednesday before I go home from work, but I don't want to open that one because this is well boring. I only want to see these 6 metrics, but click this document, open it, and there's 14 tabs. Right? Complicated. But that's the whole point of why we should be sitting into these rooms and having these conversations to make sure that everybody's represented, but there is action outside of what we are collecting. And then, once again, cross-department kind of collaboration. And why is this super important? It's important because it gives us a consistent customer experience. So at every touch point that we have with our audience, they have a consistent experience with us. So if I'm taking away and actioning some sort of insight from a social perspective and an SEO perspective, yes, they're two completely different departments, but realistically, the experience that an audience, our customers have, has to be holistic and the same throughout and have that same succinct feeling of who we are as a brand and what it is that we're trying to say and the message we're trying to convey. And then enhanced personalization as well. So we understand who they are and what it is that they like to consume. So therefore, we can produce tailored content, a bit more of a, specific product recommendation now that I know who you are, how you interact with me, and what the intent is when you come to speak to me. And then improve customer support and services as well. So this is, if we understand, for example, how our audience kind of searches around our brand, we can feed that into our customer service team. So are people currently looking for reviews and we don't have reviews on our page? So what should we be doing with that? Are people complaining that actually whenever I go on site, your opening times are incorrect? If we have those data silos and the customer service team are on one side and we're on another side, we would never have that kind of holistic view and kind of improve that customer support. Better segmentation and targeting, so who is it that we're actually speaking to, when, where, why, what is that intent, who are they? We can be a little bit more specific with that, and therefore get kind of a better ROI for our ad spend as well. And then the predictive piece, so this is where we've kind of got everything kind of laid out, and we're like, okay, brilliant, we understand what today looks like, and therefore we can start to action that then and say, well, from the trends we have previously, what is it that we can go on and action? But yeah, why should SEOs care? I'll briefly kind of step through this because that was more of a why should your company care. But there's a couple of points I just want to kind of hint at here. So enhanced content strategy through kind of cross-channel analysis. So then this is where we produce content, but how can it live across more channels? So that's why we should, as SEOs, we should kind of care. Comprehensive understanding of our kind of customer journey, which I've talked about previously. Proactive issue identification. So if we are sharing that data, we can see where anomalies and chinks in the chain are kind of happening, and therefore, what are the strategies we can do to kind of help with that? But there is a lot here. As I say, there's a lot more in the notes, so please feel free to have a little look. I just want to get our shit together. And so, yes, we've organized our data. We're in a way where we're like, yep, I like your numbers, you like my numbers, we share, amazing. What do we do from there then? So this is the predictive bit I just wanted to kind of chat with you guys. And when I'm talking about predictive, I mean like what might happen in the future. With predictive and machine learning, we no longer just have to react to data, we can anticipate and shape the future. And there's a couple of things that we can do with this. As I say, there's a lot on there, but we can do a lot of forecasting and trends for consumer behavior. So this is where we not only understand what people are actually searching, but if we do so, how can we then use that insight to manage our inventory and stock, or our content planning, or our budget allocation? Then we go into the personalization piece. How does this impact conversion rates, decrease bounce rates, increase customer loyalty? And then we go on to the kind of automated insights and anomaly detection. So this is quick issue resolution, proactive strategy, efficient resource allocation. We don't have that much time. And the tools that we currently use already do that. So these aren't just these ones. As I say, even the incredible kind of sponsors that we've got out here today do exactly that for us. But I think that we go to these tools for this specific piece of analysis that I've been told that I need to do on this specific thing, on this specific blog, on this specific day, and we don't think about the larger picture. And I think that the more we kind of pick our heads up and share this information, this data, we can do a lot better. So I'll take you quickly through a couple of things I've done that have brought that to life. So, weirdly, I'm very into handbags. You'd never believe it. So, Her Collective, they do pre-loved clothing. So typically luxury handbags. And what you can do is you can, instead of spending $3,500 on a handbag, you can rent it out for £50 a day. So this allows you to have a lot of choice. So you can have a lot of handbags throughout the year. It can allows you as well to have it on occasion. So there might be a different attire for a wedding versus a graduation versus etc. Right? And so then what they wanted to understand was, what do their audience actually want and when? So this was a really simple kind of seasonal trend analysis where I put the brand keywords to the left-hand side, everything from Jacques Mus, yeah, see, I'm good at handbags, told you, all the way to kind of your Pradas. And what I'm trying to understand there is the monthly search volume over a calendar year as a percentage. And so what I can then see is at what point are these the purchase intent for these handbags peaking? And so then what that allows me to do is then go, actually, instead of going, I'm just going to produce content from an SEO perspective, I can tell the buying team as well to say, actually, do you know what, let's hold off holding a whole load of Gucci inventory for the next 9 months. Let's actually hold off, and then we can execute that closer to the period. So we're actually serving that intent, but also it's helping the business from a cash flow perspective. And then we can start doing some really clever things with it as well long term. So you can start looking at trends, right? So let's say you couldn't get hold of any Pradas. What other bags are people searching for? So we can have a look at what other products trend during that period in time or have a correlation with each other. So do Prada and Jacques Mus correlate? So do they have a similar intent for wedding season versus York races, for example? And so we can really try to understand when we should be surfacing certain types of content as well as buying certain products as well. So these are two teams sharing data and insight and making sure that we can kind of both benefit. Then there's the other aspect of stuff as well, because you can, the other aspect of personalization. So you can pretty much do the same thing as well for personalization in the sense of merging. So with this, what I would have done, had I had a little bit more time, would have been not only am I looking for the types of meat people are searching for at any given time, but also you can overlay searches around like fitness, for example. Are people coming to me for fitness-based content because they are looking to diet? And so therefore the content that we should be producing and the bundles we should be selling should be helping them achieve the goal and not just to sell chicken breast. right? And so then it just allows us to be a little bit more smarter and understand the customer journey, as opposed to, I want you to buy this thing right now, here, today, thank you very much, give me your money, goodbye, right? So it's a bit more of a longer view of the story. And the same thing can happen to My Protein, for example, which I thought they could do a little bit better as well. So which would help them to optimize their product recommendations and bundling. One of the things that they actually were really kind of struggling to understand is, has anyone here ever had spirulina? Hands? Spirulina, yeah. I had no idea what that was until a couple of years ago, right? So how do we predict something that we don't know about quite yet? And so then this is where they use not only the search intent of what people are actually, their site search terms, but also they brought in some social analysis. So how are people within the world of fitness talking about certain products, and therefore when should we be introducing these new products into our product cycle, or should we even be doing that? And so then that allows us to be a little bit more predictive, as opposed to being going, oh my God, spirulina is a thing, quick, I saw it on TikTok, buy it, buy. Too late, right? And there are other forms of data as well that we can kind of look at. So it's not always just in the realm of what is happening within SEO or social or whatever that might be. SEO insights aren't just in analytics, they're hidden in feedback, sales trends, and content performance. So I've just put a couple of bits here as to what you can do if you are actually listening to your customers. So your customers are talking, their feedback can guide you on your content strategy and address a lot of pain points. Similarly, once again, your sales data, married with that kind of search intent and search behavior data, can predict search demand, popular products, or common objections. Common objections, can inform keyword targeting. So there's just a couple of little bits there for you guys to take away. And then as well within the content realm as well, so how content performs across channels can help shape your kind of SEO strategy. It tells you what truly resonates with your audience. But it's not just for us to keep those learnings, we need to give them to other teams. We need to be passing this information on. Because we can sit in a boardroom and be like, I could have told you that 2 weeks ago, fantastic. That's great for you, Thierry, right? Now, that was a lot. I've told you to do a lot. Harness all your data, anticipate trends, listen to your audience, the future of SEO is holistic, blah, blah, predictive, etc., right? All I want you to take away from today is share data within your team. Legally, may I add, okay? But share data and insight with each other. So audit your data, identify those silos, explore kind of predictive tools, familiarize yourself with AI kind of driven SEO platforms. The machines are here to help. They really just turn mundane tasks into something that takes quite a while, that can be done quite quickly. Obviously, just make sure it's something that you check over with a human eye, because the real power isn't just AI in itself, it's human plus AI. I truly believe that. And review non-SEO kind of based data, so analyze feedback, sales trends, social listening, social sentiment, really bring that breadth. When we talk about data, really look at the entire umbrella. And I have been Thierry. Thank you very, very muchos.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.